Okay, here's something that I'm going along that I know I didn't mention before because we were talking about spindles. But if you recall, I kept saying we're just looking at the entry passage size. That is the tip of the iceberg when it comes to spindles. Could take a look at this baby here, huh? What does this take? You're not jamming any spindle in there. Oop, here's my cat Liberty doing a walk on. How you doing there, kid? Okay. Um, yes, indeed. What do you think, sport? Look at this. This takes a three-part spindle, which we'll show you after a while. But just to give you an idea, okay, what goes on in some of these doorknobs. It doesn't make any difference to collectors, in terms of this doorknob, the fact that it takes that spindle, because nobody's going to put that on a door. Turn it right side up for you there. But anyway, just to show you what we discover as we start taking these photos. And also, while I'm shooting these for the auction here, those of you with a sharp memory will recall that when I looked at this before, I called that thing a schooner, this ship. And it's not a schooner, it's a clipper ship, or it looks like a clipper ship. I mean, there were different sail configurations, but that's definitely not a schooner rig. So, just to let you know, I'm trying to pay attention here. So, another omission I made, which astute viewers I'm sure picked up on, was that, hey, this pair of hinges is missing one of the finials. Well, okay, so I go to my handy dandy little box of hinge finials. Now I already picked through here. Didn't want to bore you with that, but I mean, this one is not perfect, but it threads in there, and when you're all done, thread up in there. When you're all done, believe me, nobody's going to really know. Somebody might care. Now, between now and the sale, I'm going to dig through a couple other boxes because that finial, this one here, I mean, that's not unusual. And I thought I had a couple, and I might still. But if nothing else, I'll put this on there. I mean, I'll make a big point when I write the description to let them know that, as if they wouldn't see it, but just let them know. But honestly, I mean, these are great hinges, and people really collect them for their, just for their decorative value. So, so this guy buys, I'm going to sell two hinges for one money. So he'll put that in his collection, and then he'll pass that along, and hopefully, I mean, that's going to be an apology, but if somebody wants that one for their collection, I mean, they'll live with that. Hey, they might even have one of these guys themselves. So that's what we're going to do with that group. And then while I was digging around in there, looking for that hinge finial, I found this little guy. Do we know what this little guy is? This little guy is that piece I was telling you that fits into those old porcelain doorknobs. And this is what's screwed to the door. And then that brass piece threaded into there. And that's what kept the rosette on. So these are the pieces that you never find, not often, unless you ask me. And I don't always find them, even when I'm looking for them. But I have a whole box of this kind of stuff sitting over there. But that's what that decorative porcelain knob is missing. And if I was a nice guy, I would include this in the lot. You never know. Show up for the auction, you'll see whether I did that or not. Well, okay, so I did a quick check, and guess what? That little brass insert thing does not thread into this. Why am I not surprised? Because back in the day, these manufacturers they'd all have their proprietary threads, you know? So whereas this is the part we're talking about, this one doesn't fit that other little insert piece. And, you know, that happens a lot in plumbing as well. I mean, you go crazy trying to match up the threads on some of this stuff. So there you go. I made an effort. If I find another, you never know. I might include it, but I'll save this till I find the right part. Well, hell, okay, I put that other piece back in the box, and then I'm looking, and what did I find? I found this. Okay, I found the whole freaking unit, and that thing threads right into there like that. I'm doing this with a camera, so I can't see what I'm doing with one hand. Slightly different shape, form, same difference. You screw that on the door, put that baby on there like that, and then that threads right in there like that, like a champion. And then this guy fits right in there like that. And you have the whole enchilada. So, okay, because I'm a nice guy, and that is going to enhance that considerably. See, that fits back there like that. I'm going to include that in the lot, and we'll see if it makes any difference in the price. My guess, not much, but you never know. This way, if somebody wanted, they could mount that on a board or, you know, even on a door if they wanted. Okay, more spindle info. Look at this. Decorated porcelain, not bad. Appears to be hand painted. Not the greatest paint job, but, you know, a lot of extra little gold on it too, which is kind of interesting. But here's the big thing. Check out that spindle. What's that? That's not entry. That's not passage. That's European. Okay? That's a small spindle. So, you want to put this on your door? You have a problem. A, finding that spindle, and then B, adapting it to your latch or your lock. But anyway, that's just one more of the variations that you're going to find out there. Okay, here's a little extra on mortise lock. So here we have this. It's a passage lock, only has one keyway, and but it has a nice decorated front, and it has the matching strike plate, and it has the key. So a couple things. Check this out. If you know what you're looking at, see that mark right there? That's R&E, Russell and Irwin. You'll learn to recognize that. Not only that, but it tells you right there. Same thing. And you can see it right in there. Okay. But the other thing you want to notice, look at this funky latch here. I mean, these guys back then, they were coming up with all kinds of ways to lock doors, latch doors. I mean, when you look in those old catalogs, and we're going to post a bunch of them up, I mean, there are pages after pages after pages of mortise locks. I have no idea what the difference is. But anyway, I know that, you know, so why they have this, you know, this double latch thing on a passage door, I don't know. And then the other thing, okay, so here's the key, so that's a nice thing, and it actually works. I'll show you if I can make it work. What happens? Yeah. But my point was, yes, it definitely works. But here's the other thing. I mean, do you want to carry a pocket full of these keys around with you? I don't think so. And then they, you know, you have to put it in there just right. Turn that sucker just right. I can't hold the camera. Oh, maybe I did it there. There you go. There you go. Look at that. See? Puts the lock right out there. But yeah, that's what they did for a long time, and people were happy about it. So there you go. If you need it, we have it. Here's something else we do. If you remember these sash lifts, when we pull them out of the original box, they were kind of dingy looking. So when I started to take the photo, I said, what the hell? I go out there and I give them a little cleaning treatment. I'm still using that original batch that we started with, I don't know, 3, 4 days ago. And this Texas sun heats that up pretty nicely. And so I just, it takes 5, 10 minutes to do it. But when you're all done, it looks so much nicer. And, definitely enhances the a lot. But, the other thing, see, when you clean it up, what do you find? Well, in this case, you find a patent date on the back side. And what does that say? 1870. 1870, folks. That is Neo-Grec. Okay, that's the height of Neo-Grec design. That's when the dog knob, the lion, all that great stuff. That's when the metallic compression casting company first came online. So this Greek key motif makes total sense. Yay, next piece of additional info. Check this out. Recall I said this is definitely European. Okay, what I didn't mention at the time, you can see the size. So that would fit into that porcelain doorknob. This one's not coming out of this very easily, I guarantee you. But that's the size that works with those doorknobs. Okay, more interesting information. Here are 3 really good sash locks. Okay, these are nice quality. But here's the thing, when you flip them over, what do you find? You find a patent date of 1868. 1868. Now think about that. Okay? More Neo-Grec. Okay? But 68. So if these things are designed, patented, these guys are thinking about this 65, 66. They don't just come up with this idea of this design. Okay? This is building, growing in America. So this was a phenomena. This decorative, the decorative arts, decorative architecture. It was really it was a monumental shift in how people were living, how they perceived their built environment, a reflection of the social economic changes, especially economic changes. There's this huge middle class, and that's who was ordering this stuff and using it, because we had, as I write in one of my books, we had that phenomena. We had money, manpower, and materials. And it all came together at one time in about 40 years of American history, mid-19th century, where you had all the materials you needed. You had these skilled immigrants were coming in, and also American people were starting to flex their own creative ideas. And you had money, and then you had the money of the middle class, okay? They were building these super neat houses. So you had demand, and then you had a ready supply that was affordable. And this is what was happening. And it only happened for about maybe 30, 40 years, and that's really what we're talking about here. And we want to look at what came before this, and then how this evolved, and how it built into its the essence of what it was, and then it faded off because in the end it was too much, and you couldn't afford to do this kind of quality for a reasonable price. But anyway, in the meanwhile, this is what you had. Okay, what do we have here? Well, it's worth commenting on. Number one, you look at those two things, and one looks a little bit bigger. But you know what? That one's 2 1/4, and this is like a 16th bigger. It's not 2 1/2, but it definitely is a little bit bigger. And they did make slightly different sizes. So the 2 1/4, 2 1/2, that's the real common one, but you find other sizes as well. Number 2, look at these rosettes. These are Corbin. I mean, those are beautiful rosettes. I think. I mean, those are nice. Okay, those are nice. And this is a nice pattern, a nice design. You know, neo-Grec finger band. There's some Gothic in there. See that thing in the middle? That's a quatrefoil. This foliage on the outside, I would say Gothic influence. And then you have the nice decorated back again, neo-Grec. Anyway, nice, except for me, somebody polished them. Now, hey, what do we know? But coming out of the factory, they might have looked something like this. I'm thinking they wouldn't have been quite so, so bright and hard. But maybe they did. We don't know. But personally, I like them when they have some age to them. So, somebody could take these. There's different things you can do. One thing you can do, you can just take regular old vinegar, dilute it a little bit, and soak bright, shiny hardware in that, and it'll take the color down quite a bit. But I don't do that for the auction because hey, this is the way they came. This is the way we're going to sell them. But just to give you another comment or two. More hardware hints. I'm just looking at these because when it comes to cast iron, man, you can't be too careful. So how do you know this thing is real and not a repro? Well, if you look carefully down in there, that kind of rust. Now, I could clean these up, or somebody could on a wire wheel or something, and it'd be bright and shiny. But when you find them like this, that's almost impossible. Nothing's impossible to fake, but nobody's going to fake that for a coat hook. And then the other thing is, you look at the style, the design. After a while, you recognize which ones have been redone. And then, of course, you look at the back and see how that little mark there, and the other one, it's even more pronounced. That's where it came out of the mold. They ground that down. Well, you're never going to see that on a new one, and that little discoloration on the back. So that's what you look for. That is age. Now this one's bright and shiny, but from my experience, I do believe it's right. And if you always look at the back side of everything. That's where you learn about it. And you can see this was probably, who knows the process, sand cast. Sometimes they did different types of casting processes, and then they would grind it off because you had to have something to pull it out with, a little tab, they call it a sprue. And anyway, that looks right to me. So I'm putting all 3 of those together in one lot. There I am. I finished box number 1. Put it over here on my bench on this side. Now you'll notice I recounted them. There's only 27 lots in there. But that's okay because I always want to have a little extra room. So when I put this up, when I build my actual catalog, then, because I have those extra ones there, there's some good stuff in there. And I also have all this stuff over here, which is extra. So I have plenty of stuff to choose from to fill in. And then next, box number 2. So we'll go after that one tomorrow, and maybe we'll come up with some good info as we dig through that pile, and we'll let you know. So meanwhile, thanks for watching. Keep singing the old ones.